Okay, like I say, we've got a show here that spares no expense. We've gone right to the top to get the best, and we've got the best. In fact, the best hockey player ever born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he proved it by some incredible play with the Fort Wayne Comets, Colin Chin. Chinner, you've added a pound or two since you played, haven't you?
Oh, come on, Bob. maybe two.
Oh, that's right. I can't tell where they are, but they're the one thing. He's getting a little streak of gray there, getting a little streak of gray.
Yeah,
What are you doing these days besides working? I understand you're pretty heavily involved with kids hockey.
I coach my son's Bantam A team. It's a 95 birth year team, playing out in Little Caesars. We're 1-1 right now, so it's been exciting. It's a big step up for the kids. We've been playing in a Buckeye League the last couple of years, so we're getting an opportunity to see some really good, talented kids. In fact, last weekend we saw, after our game, we saw two AAA Bantam teams in birth year 96, and they happen to be the top two teams in the country.
Oh, boy.
So 14-year-old kids, and just watching them, they were just phenomenal. One was from CompuWare out of Detroit, and then Mission team out of Chicago. But, I mean, just the pace of watching that and getting my kids to be able to see, those are the kids they're competing against down the road.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, how often do you get a chance in Fort Wayne, Indiana, to see that kind of hockey even being played? I mean, it's phenomenal. You can't, I've seen a lot of it in my day, and you've seen more than me with the youth hockey. But boy, the talent some of these young kids have is mind-boggling.
Well, if you think about like a CompuWare that, you're talking the top 14-year-old kids in that city in the surrounding area. So you can imagine the size of those kids as well. I mean, I would have been a small kid on that team. So but it's good for the kids to see it because it's not, again, those are the kids that they're actually going to compete against for scholarships and, positions down the road.
And, of course, at this point in time, they're starting to look at these kids already. That's the crazy part of it is they've got a list on these kids when they're 14, 15, and 16.
Absolutely. In fact, I was talking to, people probably remember Mike McNeil.
Oh, yeah.
And he's helping out with University of Notre Dame. And he was saying, they actually will bring in kids that are 15 years old.
Okay.
Start talking to them. So, and the way that USA Hockey's set up now, and it's kind of how we are with Little Caesars, is the birth year, right?
Yeah.
So, 13-year-old last year, Cullen made the mid-amp team. Then he went to Penn State for a week, and out of that, they picked another group of kids, didn't make that, and then they go to and play in the festival. So all the districts play, and they're already starting to get rated and put in the computer.
Unbelievable stuff, but it's so great for the kids to have those opportunities, and it's not an inexpensive way to go. It's not a hobby, man. You gotta commit the buck to make sure those kids get a chance, don't you?
Well, I tell you what, there's been a lot of celebration the last couple of weeks with the gas prices. With and especially us playing in the Little Caesars league. I mean, part of the rule is that teams don't have to travel outside of a certain mile limit.
Yeah.
So we have all of our home games are in Michigan.
Oh boy!
So, but I mean, it's just it's kind of the price to pay to to play in that league and play against that level of caliber competition. So everybody is willing to make the sacrifice for it and give the kids the opportunity.
Well, the thing you're looking at certainly is to give the kid a chance, if possible, to go to college or get involved in junior A and move his way up where he can get a draft. And when you look at all the people that are playing, the odds are slim, and the college route might sometimes be the best of all.
Yeah, well, and I think, when I was growing up, that wasn't probably as much as an opportunity. It just, it just wasn't. And but now, if you look at the way that things are, I mean, there've been plenty of people that come out and that can come out and play. I mean, you look at Freddie Knipscher, and so when I was growing up, it was probably people said more of this is probably all you're going to do. Whereas now, I mean, kids, depending on how hard they work and how much they develop, they do have some opportunities.
And I think more and more USA-born kids are getting chances to play at higher levels, and that's good because for a long time, the only guy that was kind of fighting for American hockey players was Mariucci up in Minnesota.
Right.
And he proved he could do it with an all-American-born team in college, winning an NCAA championship. But the whole caliber of hockey USA is just getting better and better.
I'll tell you what, it's just phenomenal. And I know most people will notice this, that have kids. I don't care what sport it is, baseball, football, basketball. Kids are just bigger.
Yeah, they are.
And so when you start pulling and collecting, the best kids, you start to find that a lot of these kids are really big and very talented. So, and again, that's what we saw with this 96-year team. And if you think about it, if there's only 3 center spots,
yeah.
And if you got the top team in the country, you're going to get the 3 best centers out of Detroit, in the surrounding areas. You're going to have some, big talented kids. Same way with only 3 right wings, 3 left wings, and 6 D. So, but that being said, I mean, there's still opportunities, and at this age, kids are still developing. We're going through our tryouts this year. It's always a tough thing when you have to cut kids. After tryouts. But, one of the things I told them, I said, some of you kids will be better next year than the kids that are already, that made this team this year. Because, at that age, 13, 14, 15, kids are still growing. So
everybody matures at a little different rate. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You were fortunate, I think, because of all the exposure you had and the opportunities you had as a player. You matured very early. And you were a bit of a phenomena. And I know I'll never forget the trip we made up to Hamilton, Ontario many years ago.
That was a long time ago.
It was, yeah, but I remember that because the big deal that trip up, they had a kid in Hamilton who was supposed to be a pretty hot shot, and they brought him in and put him on a team because they knew you were there. Remember we played in snowstorms?
Right, absolutely. That's a long time ago.
But it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All great memories and a chance, and that's what happens. I mean, parents are involved to share with their kids, and you're kind of reliving some things.
Yeah, absolutely. Fortunately for me, and we were talking about this before I threw Robert Yard's headset on here, but I was fortunate growing up with guys whose banners are hanging up here.
Yeah.
Coaching me growing up, and so when you got guys like Lionel Thornton teaching you, and George Drysdale, and Lionel Repka, and I mean, it's just it was just an opportunity for me to get taught early on, the rightness of the game.
Yeah, those guys gave freely of their time, too.
Absolutely.
They really did.
Well, that and their kids were there, too.
That's right.
But...
You hope you had a kid the same age as theirs.
Absolutely. I happen to be fortunate enough that I did. But, I think, the key with that is, I mean, there's just a right way to practice. I mean, ice time I'm here in Fort Wayne, it's like 258 bucks an hour. I mean, it's just a killer. And it's very limited, and I'm glad to see that Todd Ramsey's building that new rink and have 3 sheets and give us some opportunities. But I think the thing is, those guys really utilize the ice. Our practices were sharp, and God bless all the parents that that volunteer and that. But really having those guys teach me early on gave me a foot up or leg up on on a lot of others. So I was very fortunate.
It even equated to some kids who may have had more physical talent, but they didn't have the hockey intelligence.
Right, the nuances of the game. I mean, there's so many subtleties. You don't have to be, and you'll see. I mean, I haven't told my kids this story yet this year, but I tell people all the time. If you look, and I told Carrie Lusick this one time, and I don't know if it came out right, maybe because we were drinking, but I told him, I said, you've done more with hockey than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
With his talent. But the thing with him, he was just so smart. He was the slowest guy, is not fast feet, but in the last 30 seconds, there's nobody I'd rather have out there more. He just understood the game more.
He didn't make mistakes.
Right, and when kids kids growing up, I mean, I don't care what level what level you're playing, can be this level, AHL, and the NHL, but it's that understanding of the game and the nuances of putting yourself in the right position, and again, I was fortunate with that. I'm trying to give some of that back.
Well, one of my remembrances of Kerry Lusick was up in Kalamazoo one night. He took this young Evans and really nailed him. And Evans was their tough guy, and he goes after Kerry, and Kerry trimmed him up.
Yeah.
I never saw him fight but once, and he knocked the living heck out of Evans.
He was actually pretty solid, pretty strong guy. I mean, he probably went about 215 or so, but he's a solid guy.
Yeah. I see you're here with your favorite guy tonight, eh? How's your dad?
He's not doing very well, but he's doing the supervising of officials.
Okay.
And but he hasn't been doing well, and he was actually, he probably shouldn't even have come. I was trying to talk him out of it. But he made the trip over anyway, and so we're you know, I kind of just spent a little time with him, kind of
Yeah, you
studying
do.
him as he walks.
He's a treasure. He's a hockey treasure. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, he's, you know, just being, I mean, he gets really winded right now, and
Sure.
a lot of it has to do with, you know, the cancer that's spread in his lungs.
Yeah.
But he's, you know, even coming up the stairs in between periods, you know, we had to stop about 3 times, and I'm like, hey, you ready to go home yet? And he was like, no, we got to do this. And you know, even given all that, I mean, he's just always in good spirits, and got a great disposition.
You never meet him, but he doesn't have a funny story for you.
Yeah.
I mean, just a wonderful guy who I'm sure has received a total fulfillment of life because he's done what he wanted to do, and he's given of himself so much that everybody loves Roy Chidd because he's just a great, gracious, kindly man.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of you, Bob. He does. I mean, you guys are kind of
but I can't cook Chinese food worth a damn.
Well, you know what? I don't know very many people that can cook like him.
No.
But you know, both of you guys are, you know, kind of cut from the same cloth. You're both very generous and you know, easygoing, fun-loving people, and you know, caring. So, you know, I'm very fortunate to
that's an honor
have him.
to be clashed with your pop.
Yeah, well, you are. You know that. So, you know what I think of you.
Well, listen, I'm happy that you showed up here tonight, and I'm glad your dad came to see a game, and we all say a prayer for Roy all the time, and I hope the hockey fans will as well.
I appreciate it.
Because whatever life he has left, I hope it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, you know, I'll be honest. I don't know how much more he has, but again, he's always got a smile on. He's always got a joke ready to say. You know, unfortunately, I've heard them all. So
twice.
Oh, yeah, way more than that. But I still listen to him, and you know, I probably enjoy him a little more now, just than I have in the past.
He's more precious by the day. Jenner, happy to have you up, and good luck with your team, and good luck to your son. And again, the memories that you established in this building will live forever as well. You're the top guy that ever put a pair of skates on out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and you did a great job with it.
Well, thanks. It's always a pleasure to get back here. I don't get back here as much as I would like, even though I live here. I mean, just so busy with work and kids, but you know, whenever I come back here, it's always a treat.
Yep, everybody loves you. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Colin Chin, former Comet captain, a local guy who made good. Started from the time he was just a teeny-weeny guy. He never grew that much, but boy, the hockey skills got better and better and better. We're going to be back in just a moment here on Whoa Whoa Comet Hockey.